Hey y'all, my name is Shan. Welcome to Cozy Womb Podcast. This is a series for Black fathers because Black fathers matter. Black fathers matter to me. Black fathers matter to my children. Black fathers matter when it comes to my brothers, my mentors, my friends. They matter because they set the tone for who our children look up to. They set the tone for how men, women, children, and other elderly people feel protected, feel like, everything they've struggled for was for a good cause because they've seen who they've become. And I want to, I just want to shine a light on them and hear from them in a perspective that sometimes goes unheard because no one cares to ask. Sometimes people look at fathers as if, oh, that's nothing. They're supposed to do that. Why would we, thank you for doing something you're automatically supposed to do? You shouldn't look for any, praise or any thank yous for that. That's standard. That's the basics. Do what you're supposed to do. But when you have a father that's there, that's consistent, that's available, that's attentive, that's caring, that's thoughtful, versus an absent father, versus a father that thinks his life and his now is more important than the child's future. There's a difference. There's a clear difference. And I just want to show appreciation. So this series, I've interviewed many fathers from different places, different backgrounds. And I really just want to pick their brains with different questions. So thank you for listening to Cozy Womb Podcast, and I hope you enjoy. Mike is like a very open, you could tell that he's like super loving when it comes to his children, and just aware of times where he should have spent more time with himself during fatherhood. Super open to the wonders of fatherhood, and I think his whole family unit is the perfect supportive system for his growth as a father. And I wish him nothing but the best, and all the children around him will grow and prosper in the right way, and so will he. And I hope you guys enjoy the show.
Hey, it's Anya Dula, and I am the host of Intercultured with Anya Dula. Intercultured with Anya Dula is a podcast that focuses on motherhood, culture, birth work, and travel. And it's just a place for women to come together to discuss our philosophies on motherhood, to discuss our work and birth work, if that's what we do, but mainly to bring women of all different cultures together so that we can talk about how we mother, how we #do motherhood, so that we can learn from one another and learn to love each other. That's really what it's all about. I hope you'll join us. Intercultured with Anya Dula podcast is available on all the major podcast stations. I hope you'll join us. Can't wait to connect.
Here we go.
Back to the show.
Back to the show.
How many have you done?
You will be my 20th.
Damn.
Mind you, I still have everybody on the calendar except for one day. I think the 29th I don't have somebody, but that's because one of the dads I wanted to record, he got booked for a wedding to do his photography, so we had to reschedule. So I think that's the day I'm gonna reschedule him on. Hopefully he could do it, but yeah. I didn't think all these dads were going to want to do it, but
it's dope. It's dope. Like when you first reached out, I was like, yo, that's a dope ass idea.
Yeah.
To do that, and then I didn't think you would say that many, but that's even better that many were willing to do it and wanted to speak on it. So that's what's up.
Yeah, a lot of dads. Well, a lot of the males in my family are very like, man, but I don't have no podcast though, and I don't talk. I'm just like, ugh. I said, I'm not gonna beat you to do it, but I was just offering it to you. So out of 5 of my brothers, I only asked one of them because I feel like he's comfortable in talking. The other ones, I don't feel like they're gonna be comfortable in talking, and I don't want to feel like I'm like gonna beat you up if you don't answer talking to you. Right. So I'm just like, well, I'll just use this one and not the rest. But a lot of guys have been like, okay, I'm gonna do it, and to me, it's an experience for me personally because this whole like idea that black dads don't, and they have horrible upbringings, and they come out like these disconnected fathers, and it's not the case. Like, I'm talking to fathers that are like fully involved. Some of them have their kids primarily single dads. I'm talking to dads that have great relationships with their fathers, and I'm just like, so who's about to update this stereotype because it's incorrect?
Right.
Yeah, it's very incorrect.
That's why this is big, because I mean it's true. Like, I know nothing but good fathers. I mean, of course, you know a handful that don't do what they're supposed to do, but they're not people I associate myself with. Everybody that I associate myself with that are fathers do what they are supposed to do as a dad. So I'm like, this stigma, this what you want to call it, this notion, this whatever you want to call it, that black fathers don't do what they're supposed to do. Like, I don't know where it comes from, because I've never experienced that. And don't get me wrong, I mean, I'm not naive to know that there are some brothers that's not doing what they're supposed to do, but a good majority of us do what we supposed to.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, I hope this podcast, because I'm going to keep reposting it, so I like to repost links and stuff. I hope it just allows people to hear and see that, you guys come from different backgrounds and you are human, and you're just like, seeing this father of this race on the street, in the store, picking up his kid. Because I feel like the stereotypes make people very like resistant when they see you guys out and about with your kids, as if you're not supposed to be doing that because you don't fit into this square that they had you in their head. And I think more conversations like this need to happen in order to be like, you know what you thought is not it. And the things that they do are regular things for their kids, and they should be treated as human beings, not like get him because he's an enemy, because he just looks like he's too intimidating, and I can't be comfortable in this space. And that's why I'm doing it.
Well, that's dope. I appreciate you.
Of course. If you see me speak and you can't hear me, it's because I'm yelling at my children with love.
Okay.
Don't be alarmed. All right. So it's just a few questions. You can elaborate however you like. You can add on. You can ask me questions. You can ask me to rephrase the question. But primarily my focus is your perspective, your upbringing, your vision of fatherhood.
Got it.
Okay. All right. This is episode 20 of Cozy One Podcast. My name is Shan, and we have Mike from OTR Podcast. How are you, sir?
I'm good. My girl Shan, we rap on IG all the time. we see each other on Twitter. Now we're doing a show together. I appreciate you having me on.
Of course. I had to get all the dads in my arm's reach that I could find. So you're a father, and I caught a little glimpse of your son blowing spit bubbles, and I was like, okay. I said, okay, I know what I'm dealing with now. He's just like very aware of like what's going on in himself, and to see him like discovering himself, I feel like that's exciting, even if like I'm not there physically. Me seeing like my daughters do that was exciting, so I can only imagine how that feels for you.
Oh, it's like the last, I guess, 13 months have been like, I mean, it's been a whirlwind, of course, but it's been like the best time ever because I'm watching a little human grow up, and each day he's doing something different.
Yeah.
And you know, I'm kind of like looking at myself really, and I, you know, my fiance will say like, there's times I'll look at her and I'll say, yeah, I can't believe I have a son, or I'll say like, damn, that boy look just like me, or he act just like me, or whatever. Yeah. So it's still a year and some change later. It's still surreal to me that like I have a child, and it's crazy, but it's been fun. It's been fun.
Mm-hmm. So like seeing him is like, what do I want to do for myself? What do I want to give myself? So that's how you look at it.
Yeah, like it basically. I mean, it's just like, dude. I mean, even his little attitude, his little personality is starting to show, and it's like he's real silly, and I can be that way, and he could be stubborn, and I could be that way. So you know, a lot of times I laugh at it, and I just say to myself like, he just giving me back what I gave. You know?
Hello. So imagine that times 10 with 2 girls. I'm just in here feeling like a whole hypocrite. Like,
yeah, I'm like, this dude. I tell my fiance all the time. I'm like, yeah, me and this kid, we're gonna rumble one day. I could just feel it. Like I know we're gonna go at it because he can't talk. But you know, I'll pop at him for doing something or tell him leave something alone, and he'll pop back in his little baby talk, and I'm like, yo, like, who are you talking to? I mean, I'm sure if I could understand what you were saying, you'd probably telling me like, oh yeah, yo, shut up, like,
oh yeah. My 3-year-old was like that. She would quickly tell you about yourself. Just like, girl, get on your shoes. Let's go to the front of the house and let's do it.
Right. I mean, I see it happening. I definitely see it happening.
All right. So let's dig into the fact that, okay, you have one son, right?
Yeah. So I want to make sure I say this the right way, because on previous podcasts, on our show, I've gotten in trouble for saying this, and I say it so that people understand my family dynamic. Mm-hmm. So I have one blood-born son, right? And then I have what I don't like to say, but I say stepchildren, so people understand the dynamic of our situation. But I mean, I'm sure as a podcaster yourself, there's certain things you say, and somebody in your DM like, yo, why you say that? Why? How you gonna call? So I get this. I mean, how you gonna call them your stepkids? And I'm like, no, I love them as my own, but I say that so people understand our family structure. So my fiance had 3 kids before me, so we're a blended family. And then we were crazy enough at our tender age to bring another one on. I talked her into it some kind of way. Yeah. So yeah, my son is actually my first born child to myself. Right. Yes.
So this is how I do that. So you have more children that you father. Period. Right. And And that's fine because, my youngest daughter's dad has, he's with his girlfriend, and her son, which is older from another relationship, he has always been there, so he fathers him, so that's his son. And I respect that. So, respect it. I got you.
Right.
Where were you born?
I was born in this little small town it's in Maryland. It's about 15 minutes outside of Baltimore.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, born and raised, been here my entire life.
So you a Maryland person too?
Yes.
I was telling Quan, I was like, I used to live in Maryland. We used to live in Laurel.
Okay, that's not far from me.
Okay, so that's where we used to stay. I went to Deerfield Run Elementary School, which is still there.
I know exactly where that's at.
So I found my third grade teacher on LinkedIn. So now we just be in conversation. I'm just like, this is weird.
You know what? I don't want to go too far off topic, but it's interesting because I was having a discussion about my favorite third grade teacher today.
Yeah.
And how, like, this was Miss Washington is my favorite teacher of all time.
Mm-hmm.
And some time had gone in between me seeing her. Yeah. So I happened to see her one time and I was like, that's Miss Washington. I ain't going to say nothing. But then it was just bugging me. I'm like, I got to say something. So I'm like, no, did you used to teach third grade? And she was like, yes. And I was like, did you teach at Guilford Elementary? And she was like, yes. And I'm like, your name was Washington? She was like, yes. I was like, hey, listen, you were my favorite teacher. I thought I was your favorite student, but she didn't remember me, and it broke my heart. So, like, I ended up running into her. So she was like, don't do that. I've run across, I'm getting old now. I had so many students, but you do look familiar. What's your name? So she asked me and all that.
Yeah.
So now it's crazy because I bump into her time and time again now, and now she makes sure she point me out. Like, Mike, I remember you.
Right. Like, and then you got to give her credit because your name is Mike. Do you know how many Mikes came in her classroom? So
I was heartbroken. I thought I was her number one Mike of all time.
Oh man. So
I was like, damn, Miss Washington, like, remember the time when I came to school and I ain't washed my face and you made me go wash my face? You took care of me. Like, come on, you got to remember me. So
yeah.
But yeah, man, it's crazy, this area. And it's crazy to find out how many people have either lived in this area or from this area.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, you close. You was close.
I'm a East Coast kid, so I've been in Philly, Baltimore, Maryland, New York, Florida, and now I'm in Atlanta. So.
Oh man, so you've been up and down.
Yeah, and I don't have no parents in the military. Just mom trying to figure out where she comfy at.
So did you? So it's other podcasters like my man Juice, chilling with Juice. He from out this way. He from Baltimore. I see y'all rapping. So did you know him from here, or y'all just met?
Everybody podcasting I've gotten to know from podcasting. I don't know anyone from anywhere else.
Okay, cool.
But
shout out to my man.
Yeah, Juice is cool. What's my next question? What is your current age?
My current age is 38 years.
38.
Freaking old with a 1-year-old. Yeah, I did it. I'm crazy, people.
I mean, my 3-year-old's dad is gonna be 41 in July, so you good. You get money.
Man, listen. I look at it and I'm like, and then we started calculating the age, and I'm like, damn, I'm gonna be that old ass parent at the graduation where they're like, is that your grandfather?
That's not bad, because I used to talk about my dad for show and tell, because my dad is 30 years older than my mom. And when anybody saw him, they was like, is that your grandpa? I'm like, no, that's my dad. Because my grandfather was, I think, 2 years or 3 years younger than my dad. So it was always like, oh my God, you're mine. You're good. It's okay.
That's what I'm ready for it. I know it's coming, but whatever.
It's okay. Kids are gonna keep you young, so you'll be all right. So, how old do you feel?
It depends on the day.
I knew you was gonna say that, because today my feet feel like I'm 70 years old. I'm just like, oh my God.
Yeah, it depends on the day. I mean, don't get me wrong, like he keeps me young, but there's days where I'm like, oh shit. Hey, what's that back pain? What's that I feel in my back?
Listen, I think 30s are all about, okay, this is the decade that you're gonna feel your body.
Yes.
No.
You know what? That's the God honest truth, because I forget, I'll never forget, like it was yesterday. Many moons ago when I turned 30, right? And everybody was saying, 30 is the new 20. So it felt that way. And that day, when I turned 31, is when I felt my first ache. No lie. Like that very day I woke up on my 31st birthday, like my shoulder was hurting or something. I was like, yo, this shit is crazy. Like,
my shoulder blades be burning and I can't get massages because I'm too ticklish. So that's out. I have like insoles for my shoes to see if that'll help. Not working. I'm married to Icy Hot. I love Icy Hot patches. If you are a great friend, you will give me Icy Hot. I'll be like, thank you. It's so crazy. And I'm not complaining. Like, I'm grateful for life, but man, this body is no joke.
You ain't lying. I mean, I'm saying, man, I'm grateful for life, but yeah, depends on the day. Some days I feel like $1 million, and some days I feel like $2. So.
Ugh. Oh my God. Well, I hope it gets better.
Yeah.
So the first question is, how did you feel when you heard the words, "I'm pregnant"?
Oh man. So quick story. Shannon, listen, if you haven't figured out from watching our show or listening to our show, I'm a talker, so I'm gonna try to keep it short.
That's fine. You don't have to keep it short. This is you.
So we were actually on vacation, right? We were crazy people. And we drove to Florida from Baltimore, right? To Orlando. The whole 13, 14 crazy ass hour drive on a 15 passenger van. And we did that. And we get there and we got this huge house. It's a bunch of family. And she kept saying like, man, I feel sick. And I'm like, what? So I'm like, yo, you pregnant? I bet you pregnant.
You called it?
She was like, nah, I'm not pregnant. I just don't, my stomach just hurt, bro. I'm like, okay. So I was just riding with it. So probably we were there for a week. So probably on the third day, she was like, yo, let's go get a pregnancy test. So that's when I knew, like, okay, she's a little scared too, because she's saying this. Yeah. And so we grabbed like, I didn't know, but she grabbed like 10 of them joints. I didn't even know she did that.
What?
And yeah, we got back to the house and I was downstairs mingling with the rest of the family. She was upstairs and she texted me and she was like, come here. And when I got up there, like she had like 3 or 4 tests, like, and she was like, yo, and I like tackled her right there. I was like, oh shit, like, yo, we gotta tell everybody. And she was like, no, we can't tell nobody.
Right. Y'all don't listen. Listen, you cannot say anything until like the 13th week, because anything could possibly happen, and sometimes y'all just be so excited.
That was the hardest 13 weeks of my life, because I was super excited. I like I said, I tackled her. We was in Florida, so like, we was having a good time. It was vacation. It was just perfect. It was like the perfect scenario, perfect situation to find out like that I'm about to be a dad. Only thing about it, I couldn't tell nobody. That was the only thing.
So you just was sitting there with that extra happy face.
Yeah, like, yeah, I'm cheesing, like, yeah, yep, me, about to be a dad. Yeah, so it was, I mean, but it was the best feeling because, you know, at one point in time, like I always wanted kids, but it got to a certain point in my age where I was like, or in my life, I was just like, yo, you know, I got her kids, you know what I mean? I'm good. And so I was just like, yo, if it don't happen, it don't happen. So for it to happen like that, I was like bet, you know, it's on now. It's on the popping. So
that's good. I like that. So having a son must feel rewarding for you. It does. What are you constantly imagining to share with him once he gets older?
Oh man, it's so much like, so like it's, I mean, from little things like, you know, playing catch or whatever with him, all the way up to, you know, to attending a game, sports games with him and other things with him, to, you know, just like kicking it with him. Like I want to, one of the things that I can't wait actually to be able to discuss with him and have him understand is, you know, to tell him more about his grandfather. Because my dad passed away in 2014. So my dad never, you know, of course he will never meet my dad. And so I want to make sure he knows who he's named after and just how great, you know, my dad was. So I can't wait for those moments as well. And even like I envision myself having that talk with him, and him, you know, little kids always asking questions, and I can envision him asking like, well, what did he do? And tell me more about him. So I can't wait for that. I really can't wait for that moment.
That's good. Good. See, another dad that has a good dad. Yes. Which brings me to this question. It's a fill in the blank. To me, the ultimate dad is blank.
Oh man, to me the ultimate dad was my dad. Like my dad was everything. My dad was, you know, my first superhero. He was my best friend. He I mean everything. Like I couldn't have asked for a better dad. And the good thing about it is I knew this and I realized this when he was here. So that's great. Like I'm just glad it wasn't a situation that when he was gone that I would be able to see that, oh man, my dad was really this great. But, you know, I knew that when he was here, like he was the best. So, and the crazy thing is, like I've had people say to me before I even became close to becoming a father, like, you know, hey, if you can be half the man your dad was, like, yo, you're gonna be a bomb ass father. Or, you know, I've even had people say, if I could meet somebody that's half as great as your dad was, I would be a happy person. And it's like, damn, you know what I mean? Like for other people to recognize that too is just like, damn. So yeah, to answer your question, like that's what it is for me.
Good. What's my question? What did he do for a living?
My dad did, so I always told people my dad was a mechanic, but he really wasn't. Mm-hmm. Well, my dad he worked for one of the local governments where we live at. You might be familiar with that. Are you familiar with Howard County?
Yes.
So he works for the Howard County government.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Hold on. Is being a Black father with your son in a room of other parents from different cultures, Do you find yourself in like an awkward situation?
You know what? Yes and no. I haven't really been in that situation much because he's so young, and then with the pandemic coming, like, to be honest, like, he hasn't had a bunch of outside, around a whole bunch of people like that. But the one time it did happen when we took him to this place called My Gym, which is a kids gym, and it was other parents, other fathers. I think I might have been, I'm not mistaken, I might have been the only black dad there. And you do get a feeling like that they looking at you different, or they kind of looking at you like, wow, like, here's a dad that's present. Here's a black dad that's present, So I kind of got that feel, but I haven't really, that's probably the one time that I've been in a situation where it was me and a whole bunch of fathers of different cultures and stuff.
The one reason why I like Atlanta is because you can go to like different parks and see multiple different cultures of families, and just to see them interact with them, like your kids and you, it instantly teaches people. And that's why I like taking the girls to different parks and finding different parks in Atlanta, because it makes people get like out of their awkwardness when it comes to other cultures of people. So I'm always about that, but seldomly few do you see like black fathers come into the doctor's office with their kids. It's usually the mom. So when I do see it, my on my inside, I'm just like, oh my God. But I don't want to say it like out loud, like, you're not supposed to be in here, but you might. But it's just, it's like another level of fathers stepping into their fatherhood, because it should be a norm to see sometimes that a dad comes in and not a mom. That a dad and a mom comes in for a doctor's appointment. And one thing I do like about my youngest kid's dad is he was always like, okay, I'll take her to the doctor's appointment. Like he never had any issue taking her to the doctor's appointment. And I never, got a chance to ask him, like, did you feel awkward about that? Did anybody like make you feel like you wasn't supposed to be there? But I think that's a common thing that some fathers may deal with, where other people make them feel uncomfortable in a room because it's not normalized that you guys are in those atmospheres or situations with your kid. But I like to see it more often. That way people can just like relax.
Yeah, I mean, I think I'll say the most awkward moment for me was probably going to her appointments when she was pregnant. Like, because I would go to, I think I've been to just about every one. I think I might have missed one or two. But it just kind of felt like they, and I talked about this on the podcast. I think I did. And it kind of felt like, they treated me like I wasn't there, even though I was there. Like, it just kind of had that feeling like, why is he here? You know what I mean? It kind of made me feel that way. So I would say that's probably the most awkward moment, even down to his birth and like being in the hospital. I feel like I spoke about this too on the pod, that I feel like I was treated differently. And I've had some people hit me and say that that's happened to them too. But because we weren't married at the time of his birth, like, I feel like they treat fathers. I don't know about, I've only talked to black fathers about this situation, but I feel like I was treated different anyway. And it could have been you know, I took it as it could have been like, you know, because here's a black man, we're not used to seeing, you know, them in there every step of the way, but or whatever it may be. But it was very awkward, and I have some other brothers that hit me and said, yeah, they felt the same type of awkwardness and that feel like that, you know, they were just looked at like, oh, this isn't normal. Why is he here? So yeah, like, I would say that's.
I've never been married, and me and their fathers, we aren't together. But the youngest one, he was there, you know, because I got induced throughout like the whole thing. But he started a argument about something that happened before the baby shower on the day of me being induced. So the whole time throughout the labor and delivery, he had like this mean face, was talking to me, being like super distant, but always like walking across my crotch while like the doctors are in it, and just like giving me like this tension feel in the labor and delivery room. But the doctors were making him feel comfortable. Sir, would you like another bottle? Would you like something to drink? You know, and my other daughter was in there. He was like walking around the room with her, sitting, but on his face, it was like, I'm mad at you, don't talk to me. So my mom was in the room, so it was kind of like awkward. So I was like, okay, he's canceled out as my support person. Let me just like have her, you know, help me with stuff. But he was there, and I never gotten a chance to ask him, like, how did you feel as a man, as a black man in that room, because of the aura he was given. But it's the fact that black women are treated, you know, with struggles in a delivery room. I can only imagine what you guys feel like in a delivery room, because it's kind of like, oh, you're trying to be the exception, but we're going to tell you what you can and you can't do, versus you give me options on what I have while I'm here, make me feel like I'm supposed to be here. So yeah, but the only thing that's going to cure that is more black men being in there, regardless of them being married, regardless of them being together. It's just like, I'm here for like the birth of my child, period.
Right.
Yeah. Ugh, I hate that. What are 3 must-have combos that you have with your dad that you will have with your son?
So, the one I mentioned before, my dad had the conversation about my grandfather with me. My grandfather passed when I was young, so the same thing with him.
So you didn't get to meet him, or did you?
I mean, I met him, but I was young. So when he passed, like, you know, it was, I want to say, I think I was under 10, I think. So, you know, I would have questions, you know what I mean? So that's one conversation. I want to make sure, like I said, with my son, that he knows who his grandfather was. The conversation number 2 is gotta be so my dad was really a stickler on like things like your credit, and don't jack up your credit, and don't do things like that. And he was almost like that to a point where he was like overboard with it. Like he like almost protected me too much from it. Like, stay away from credit cards. So by the time I got to a point where I was trying to establish credit, it was like, oh, well, you didn't have a credit card, so you got to start there. So it was like those things. But but he also schooled me on things, you know, family wise, like, you know, how to take care of your family, how to set your family up, things like that. So I want to have that conversation with him. And What's the third one? I don't know. Like my dad also was a talker, so yes.
It's genetic.
Yes. So we had so many conversations. I had so many conversations, and it would be conversations that he would call me, and it was supposed to be like a 5-minute conversation, and then you look at your phone and it says you were on the phone for 45 minutes and he's still talking. So so it was so many, but I don't know, I can't think of a third, but those two for sure I want to make sure I have with him.
Was your dad comfortable being emotional in front of you?
So comfortable probably, but did he show it? No. Like my dad was like, I mean, he was just a man's man. You know what I mean? Like he was that type of dude that was, okay, this is what we face with. Like, okay, how we gonna bounce back? So he was always thinking 3 steps ahead. You know what I mean? So as far as showing emotion, like he didn't do it much, but he would say things. He would tell us that he loved us and stuff like that all the time. But as far as showing, I was telling somebody else this story too. I've only seen my dad cry one time, and I seen it on the sneak. It was at actually my grandmother's funeral, his mom, and like he was sitting at the pew, and I looked down, and he was kind of leaning forward. You know what I mean? And I seen a little shed, and I was like, but that's all. Like I've never ever, my dad left this earth without me really seeing him like have a full out cry. So yeah, I mean, I would, if he had to, would he be comfortable? Yeah, I would assume so, but he never showed it.
Do you think you would be comfortable like crying in front of your son?
Damn, that's a good question, because I'm typically not that dude that has a problem showing emotion. But I'm also big on not showing weakness as well, if that makes sense. So I don't know if it would be looked at as showing a weakness if I cried in front of my son, but I get the sense that my dad didn't do it for me because, you know, he knows that I looked at him as a superhero, and maybe he thought that if I seen him in a weakened moment that I would look at him a different way, which wouldn't have been the case. But so
boom, you have your answer. So if you feel like you need to cry, show your son that you human and bounce back.
But I mean, you asking that question it's a really good question, because it's like, damn.
You know why I asked it? I asked it because I want to know the why behind why men, especially Black men, are always second guessing if I want to be emotional in front of my son. I feel like when they have daughters, it's easy. It's easy because, you know, it's a sweetness that your daughters give you. It's I gotta protect her. Let me show her that I care. But I think with sons, with Black men, it's like a different type of care. And I just want more Black men to understand that crying is not a weakness. It's more so like exercising your body's right to go through a feeling. You don't have to stay there. You don't have to cry for 10 days and 10 nights. But to get that out, instead of walking up tomorrow and being pissed because you holding things in and punching something or someone, it's better if you just need to get that cry out. And for you to, you know, possibly later on have a situation where you just feel like that's the emotion that you feel, I just hope, you know, you don't feel like you need to like hide and
Dr. Shan.
Yeah, man.
No, but that's real talk. It just hit me when you asked it, because it was like, damn, what would I do in a situation like that? Would I would I run? Like, would I try to hide it from him or whatever? Like, that's a damn good question.
Because, even in Joy, I've been watching some videos, especially from Father's Day, where dads felt joy, like, from their kids. There's one dad, he has, like, where he's colorblind, and his family got him the special glasses where he can see color for the first time. And he hit his face in his cry. And I'm just like, man, if you have that emotion from joy, I wish that, like, y'all felt comfortable to show that. And another dad, his son paid off his car. He told him to go away so he can look at the paper further, as if it was going to change that the car was paid off. And I know that go away was like, go away so I could get emotional.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And I'm just like, man, why can't y'all just be in that? And I just hope that y'all get to a point where y'all can be in that emotion, and it just be like, I'm crying because I'm happy. I'm crying because, I'm exhausted. I'm tired. I'm crying because I miss this person, or I'm angry, so I'm crying. But I'm going to get to a solution, and y'all could find that solution together. But I just hope that you guys get to a point where that's okay.
Yeah, I mean, that's real. That is real. That's something that and we discussed it too when we did a Black Men Mental Health episode, where for some reason we're wired. Well, we know why it's that way, because the things that we face in the world, like, we just feel like we have to be the strength. We feel like we gotta be strong at all points. We can't show any weakness. And I mean, I went through that myself, so my dad and my mom both passed in 2014, 8 months apart.
Oh man.
So I felt like I had to be my dad. I had to hold the family together like he would have. And I think I did a good job, but I realized later on, like, that was too much for me to take on, and it beat me down because I wasn't able to show and release my hurt and my feelings at that time, because I felt like if my family, my sisters and everyone would have saw me broken down, that it would have trickled down to them, and they would have lost hope that we would be okay. So but I like I said, sometime after that I realized, like, you should have taken that moment, and you needed that moment, and you deserve that moment. You know what I mean? So
well, we know better going forward, though.
Yeah,
Man, we're better taking care of people when we take care of ourselves first.
that's a fact.
What does bonding with your kids look like?
Oh, man. So it depends. So, our bonding moments as a family has been changed by this pandemic shit, because, usually when they aren't spending time with their father, like, we would do something, whether we went to the movies as a family, as we went go-kart riding, as we went out to eat together. We would always just do something to get out of the house.
So all of you with their dad also, y'all do stuff together?
Well, now like birthdays and things like that, like we all get together for that. But even when they would because they spend time with their dad, they have their days with their dad and days with us. So when they would come with us, we would always find something to do. But it's changed so much. So now the bonding time is like, hey, y'all want to watch a movie? Or
listen, do you know how hard it is to find a movie everybody want to watch?
Exactly. That takes about an hour right there. So it's like, and by that time I done crept upstairs and threw something else on. So yeah, but it's that, or we'll just sit around, and I mean it kind of happens impromptu, but now our bonding moments are kind of centered around my son, because we're all enamored with his growth and watching him grow. So we'll find ourselves sitting there watching him, and we tripping off of him because he, like you said, you saw him blowing spit bubbles, or he doing a little lip thing where he's flipping his lip. It's all of that.
I'm 33 years old, and I still remember when I figured out how to blow spit bubbles and keep it on my lip and then pop it. So I get it. We see eye to eye on that. That's good. That's good. What is one unknown fact about fatherhood that no one warned you about?
Oh man, come on, Shan, with all the good questions. Let me see. One known fact about fatherhood that no one warned me about. You know what? For me, right? I don't know how many brothers went through this or how many will admit going through this. But I guess going into fatherhood and being a first-time father, and then him being a boy at that, I'm like, oh, my son gonna love me, because kids love me, period, right?
Yeah.
But I had moments where he was probably early, like his early time with us, so maybe 2, 3, 4 months old. That whole breastfeeding thing, and like only wanting his mom, like his mom could only calm him down.
Yeah.
And it hurt me. It hurt me. Like, I took it personally. Like, my lady had to sit me down and say, babe, like, you cannot take that personal. Like, you got to realize that he's been in my body for that time. I'm his source. I'm his food source. So, he feels that connection with me, but you can't take it personal. She was like, trust me, it's going to be a time where he won't want me. He's only going to want you. And so it took some time, but like, I really was hurt. Like, real talk, like I'm going to drop this exclusive on your show. But like, I cried. I had a moment where I cried because I couldn't understand, like, damn, why can't I soothe my son? Why can't I calm him down? Why can't I make him feel better? It was that whole feeling of, damn, my son doesn't like me or whatever. Like, I went through that shit. And it wasn't, no one, all of my boys that have kids, like, no one ever said that to me. So that was something that I wasn't expecting to go through, but I definitely did.
Okay, so here's a solution for that. For any dads listening. I breastfed both of the girls until they were like 4 months. But it's equally important that your child, male or female, gets like items with like your scent on it.
Right.
Whether it's like a hoodie or a blanket. And also that skin to skin still at home is important. And if she is breastfeeding, to also pump and put in like a freezer bag for breast milk. And then you can like warm that bottle up, get the bottle that has a nipple that looks like a boob, and give it to him, and then just you have that bond time with him while he's eating. And that would have like balanced that out a little bit, so he wouldn't feel like she was the only go-to option for eating. Because the thing is, you can breastfeed and pump and use a bottle at the same time. You just have to balance it out. But that's what would help that. Because
I mean, so we did that. Like, she would pump, you know what I mean, and like I would feed him, and he would be cool. But it would just seem like whenever he would be in any moment of distress or upset or crying, like, I would be like, all right, I got him. I'll try to rock him, and he wouldn't. He did not want that. But once I gave him to her, he was all good, and I was just like, damn. Like,
at least you wasn't the mom and your mom felt like the cure, because I just had like, Anya was like a kid where you didn't even know there was a newborn in the house. You know what I'm saying? She was very chill. And then you have like Aria, who's like whiny, could never be pleased. We didn't become friends until after she turned 1. And I'm just like, girl, like, I don't know what you need. There was days where I just like call her dad and I'm just like, I'm about to put her outside. Like, she doesn't want me. My mom would like bathe her like at 3 a.m., swaddle her, put on her hat, and then she was like, all right, I'm gonna be quiet for like 2 hours for you. And I'm just like, whose kid is this? I want a refund. But you know, kids are different. Kids are different. But yeah, I could see how that was frustrating, because it was frustrating for me sometimes.
Yeah, I was just like, I was like really hurt. I'm like, damn, I'm hurt. Like, this dude don't want nothing to do with me. Now I can't get rid of him. It's like I gotta sneak out the house, because if he see me leaving, he gonna cry and all that. So yeah, no one warned me to that, but it was definitely something I went through.
Okay. My next question for you is a fill in the blank. I love being a father because blank.
I love being a father because, you know what? I love it because I'm now responsible for this young human, this young man's upbringing. And you know, it's a sense of pride in that, because especially what's going on now, you know, I feel like we as black men and black people in general, like, there's certain tones that we need to be able to set in our own families before our kids go off to school, and you know, because, or even when they're in school, but still teaching them when they come home from school to know what it is to be who they are. And I'm wearing that like a badge of honor. Like, I want to make sure you know, he's fine with who he is, and he can be the best person that he can be, and I mean, shit, and be better than, you know, me, be better than whoever, his grandfather, whatever. So I think that's the best thing about it. Like, you know, that feeling of somebody counting on you, it's a certain motivation that gives you, you know, just to, like, it was weird. Like, you know, before he was here, I gotta be to work at 6:30 in the morning, so I'm up early. And you know, before he was here, it would be those mornings where I'm dragging, like, man, I should just call out.
Yeah.
But after he got here, those moments of, you know, waking up and like I would look over at him and they would be gone, because I'm like, all right, bet, I gotta grind. I'm about to grind for this dude. You know what I mean? Even though I don't want to, if I don't want to go, like, looking at him, it's a reason to shake that shit off. Like, he's your reason, so let's go. Let's make the day happen.
Do you ever feel guilty? I don't know how long of a day you work, but just missing those hours with him going to work?
I did at first. When I first, so I'm that dad that took leave when he was born. So I was off for like I didn't play no games. Like, I was off for like 3 months.
Okay.
Because I wanted to make sure, like, I was with him for those first, you know, those crucial months of his life, those beginning months of his life.
I love it, because a lot of dads don't ask for that time off.
Oh, I went straight at him like, yo, I'm out. And they were, you know, I'm in somewhat of a leadership role at my job. So, you know, I had my bosses like, hey, when he coming back? And I'm like, yo, you don't ask anybody else that takes time off to be with their son. So I don't know yet. But I'll let you know when I'm coming back, but don't hold your breath, because I'm not coming back no time soon. So when I first went back, though, it was those moments like, God damn, what am I gonna miss? You know, but my lady, she recognized that. So like, she kept me in the loop with the FaceTime calls and the pictures and
Major
stuff like
key.
Yeah. That was huge. It's huge. She still does it to this day. Like, she sent me a picture earlier today while I was at work of him doing something, and it's like, it'll take me away from what I'm doing at that time. It'll give me a chuckle or whatever. So it helps with that big time. But yeah, I did have moments like that early on.
Okay. Another fill in the blank. Fathers deserve support from others because blank.
Fathers deserve support from others because, believe it or not, it's a certain, everything that I just explained of why I'm happy to be a father. It still comes with a lot of pressure. You know what I mean? And, there's pressure behind raising these kids and raising, these sons and even these daughters, everybody. It's pressure behind it. So we need support, especially for people like me who is a new dad. I needed that support, and I needed that, pat on the back sometimes to be like, yo, you doing good, or you doing all right. You know what I mean? Because I had moments where I struggled also with not knowing if I was doing enough or if I'm trying to do too much, or, so it was that balance of, figuring that out. Like, all right, damn, I ain't do shit. Like, I felt like it was moments where I felt like I wasn't doing enough or anything. Yeah. You know what I mean? So, so support in situations or for situations like that is huge for fathers.
Do you feel appreciated as a dad?
I do. This Father's Day, my fiance, her name is Kamisha. So like, Misha she really went all out. And I'm, again, that DNA thing, being like my own dad. Like, my dad never expected anything from Father's Day. We would ask him what he wanted, and he'd be like, nothing. So we had to, if we were going to get him anything, we had to figure it out on our own. So I was the same way. Like, she like, what you want? I'm like, I don't know. So everything that she did, like, she did on her own, even to down to dinner. Like, she asked me what I wanted, and I was like, I don't know. It was just like, I'm good. Like, you don't have to do. And so she just took it upon herself to, like, plan this day for me, and it being my second official one, a second official Father's Day. Like, yeah, she made me feel really appreciated.
That's good. That's what I like to hear. Growing up with your dad, what did it teach you?
My dad taught me, he taught me discipline. He taught me, he just taught me how to be a man. Like, I think sometimes we run into that with our kids, or especially our boys who don't have that father figure or whatever. They're like, sometimes we miss in that step of being taught how to be a man and how to handle situations. The biggest thing, though, that I would say that I got from my dad is like problem solving. Like, my dad, honestly, and I'm nowhere near as good as he is or he was, but my dad, no lie, felt like whatever question or problem you were having, he had to answer some kind of damn way. I don't know where he got it. I don't know who he got it from, but he taught me, like, how to problem solve your own issues. Like, hey, all right, you don't know. Okay, I don't know who is the best mechanic in the area, but hey, this is how you find out. You know what I mean? Or this is what you do. This is what you look into. Or, it was just stuff like that. Like, he was perfect. He was just amazing at that. I don't know where he knew, how he knew this shit, but I'm telling you, like, that's probably one of the biggest things me and my siblings miss is like whenever we were in a rut or any type of situation, we could call him and he would know how to fix it. So I think I've taken on that somewhat and handling it without getting flustered. You know what I mean?
That's how my uncle was that I said you remind me of. He, you would call him up and be like, man, Ron, and he was like, all right, I'm going to look some stuff up and I'll call you back. He going to call you back with options. He going to tell you where to go. He going to give you some numbers. He was excellent at like typing up papers. When it came to talking to people on a professional level and getting things done. And I'm just like, man, this man is a gem. And it was just like really like a protected feeling to know you had access to somebody with the abilities to make the wrongs okay.
Yeah. It was a huge, that's a perfect way to put it. Like you just felt like you had that fallback because you knew, because I knew my dad would have an answer. So once my dad passed, it was like, all right, that's a moment. That's something that I'm really gonna have to grow up on. All of us had to grow up on, because we didn't have that fallback anymore. Yeah,
when he passed, I kind of felt selfish because I wanted him to still be here, but at the same time, I felt happy that he could relax now for real, because he was always that person running around doing for somebody else. But at the same time, he was the only black man that I knew that was on top of like his health, on top of like his eye appointments, his dentist appointment, him going to the doctors, him getting his checking his colon. Like he wasn't like, oh, I don't go to doctors. Like he was always on top of that also. But at the same time, it's kind of like, man, like he gets to rest now because he was never like well rested, because he's always worried about if the next person's okay. So yeah, completely get. I can imagine how your dad was.
Yeah.
Just by that. That's good. You had like a solid father figure.
Yeah, I'm telling you, my dad was the shit. Like, and I don't just say that because he was my dad, but like Quan, Brandon, Alex, all of them that's on the show, they'll tell you, like, they all knew my dad, and they'll say the same thing. And sometimes, it's time to time, they'll say, like, yo, you acting just like your dad. And, you know, and we always get a kick out of that. But, yeah, my dad was a really good dude.
That's good. My next question for you is, if I could improve one thing for Black fathers, it would be blank.
If there's one thing I can improve for Black fathers, I would take away that what we kind of talked about earlier, you know, that stigma, that cloud that's over top of us, that we don't want to be here, or that we aren't present, or that we aren't active, we run away from being fathers and shit like that. I would take that away, because I think sometimes there's we get that unfair shake. There's a lot of brothers out here that want to do right, that's been doing right, that's, you know, just looking for a chance to do right, but because we get that unfair shake from people. And sometimes the sad part about it is sometimes we even get that from our own folks. You know what I mean?
So disappointing.
Yeah. So it's like, you know, if I could take it, if there's one thing I could take away from for Black fathers, it would be that. Like, everybody got a clean slate. Let me show you that I don't want to be here first before you assume that that's who I am.
Right. Okay. I get that. I'm with it. My goal for my son in life is blank.
My goal for my son in life is to be 10 times, 30 times, 100 times better than I am.
Exactly.
A better man than I am, a better person, better everything. I want him to make 10 times more money than I make. I want him to, hey, if he wants to have 10 times more kids than I have, I want him to just be, I want him to strive to be better than the best of the best for him. And I would hope that I would be the best of the best for him. So I want him to be way better than me.
Love it. Love it. My last question for you. 3 things about fatherhood that is underrated. Go.
3 things about fatherhood that's underrated. Oh, let's see. Underrated. I don't know. Like, I don't know about other cats, and I don't know about some of the other fathers that you interviewed, but like, maybe it's me being a new father. Like every moment about it is great. It's no underrated. Like I cherish every moment, and I don't know if it could be just me because I'm just new to this thing, but
yeah,
I don't know if it's anything that I find to be underrated. That's another good question, Shan. Yeah, I don't think I find anything to be underrated.
Is he walking yet?
Yeah, he's at that point where he's walking and he add the halfway run to it. So he's starting to pick it up and do a halfway little run stumble thing.
How did you feel the first time you witnessed it, like in the physical, not on FaceTime, but you witnessed the walk or the run?
I was like, oh shit, like he really walking, like he's growing up, and he would take, little steps here and there, but his brothers and sisters actually motivated him to take the full on walk tip like he did, because they were over here, and like I said, for me and her, he was taking a step or two, but he was so excited that they were home that it was like I was just playing with y'all those couple of steps. I'm good. I'm ready to start walking. So
yeah.
But it was, again, those milestone moments with children. Like you always remember, you'll never forget those things.
Mm-hmm. Well, I hope you continue to keep enjoying the little things, because they grow like nobody's business. And I just want to thank you for stepping into your fatherhood role with your son and also with your other kids, and just bringing that joy to a home where all of you are like pitching in and doing it together. It completely makes a difference in kids for them to see that, and continue to pour into your MP3.
I appreciate it. Shan, I want to say, listen, I want all your listeners to know that what you're doing here is amazing. All the Black fathers that you're interviewing, I'm sure we all feel the same way, and I feel confident and comfortable in speaking for them right now and saying, we appreciate you. This is a great thing. Thank you for highlighting us, giving us a platform to speak out of how fatherhood affected us, or is affecting us, asking some really good questions. So to offer up your platform to do this for us, we appreciate you. So thank you. Thank you very much.
You are definitely welcome, and I would do it again. Yeah, this is good. Do you want to tell the people where to reach you?
Yeah, so if for all my Twitter people, I am OTR_Mike. You follow me, I follow you back. I'm not one of those funny I'm not one of those funny active people on Twitter, so I welcome all followers. Instagram, You can check us out at OTR_podcast. Facebook is OTR_podcast. We also Off the Record podcast on YouTube. And you can also find our shows on all your listening platforms, from Apple to Spotify to Stitcher to all of the above. So check us out.
And get that merch. Get that merch.
Hey, let me tell you, like, you killing it. I just saw the fanny pack.
Man, I was so good they dropped that. I was like, ooh, I'm gonna go put that on here. Because for me, I know it's like a manly thing. But I'm more so hoping like women get it, or like moms or people that work out get it. Because when I work out, or when I'm at work, or when I'm wearing something that doesn't have pockets, when I'm with my girls, it's just so much easier to stuff the stuff in the fanny pack. Not because I want to wear it because it's fashionable. I'm wearing it because my hands are free, because they always doing stuff. So.
Right. You kill it. Like, I look at your designs and I'm like, damn, we can't do nothing like that.
Yes, you can, because I'm not using anything else. But what's on Teespring? I just, I play with it while I'm researching other stuff, because I'm always trying to figure out and listen to other things. And I'll just play with it, because if I'm not working, I'm up all hours reading or listening to something.
That's dope. Well, hey, get that merch from Shane, get that merch from us. We appreciate all of y'all. We appreciate the listeners, man, the love, all the fellow podcasters. We appreciate y'all. It's all love on this end.
Most definitely. Thank you.